Hey folks, today I'm going to talk about what it feels like to be down to one guitar. Keith Williams would be proud. So, this is the only guitar I have at the moment. Everything else has been shipped. I'm going to be without it for 3 months. The reason why I chose this one is obvious. It's a travel guitar made by SX, did a video of it recently, and it'll fit in an overhead on a plane. So it's really utility that made me choose it, although I really do actually like this guitar and have decided to keep it for reasons explained in the video. So this is the guitar that I get to play, and it's my only guitar for the next 3 months or so. What does that do for me? Well, the first thing I have to do when you only have one guitar, and by the way, this is a video for the regulars, the collectors, the giggers, the players, the modders, because you all have multiple guitars, whereas the majority of guitar owners across the world, lay people, students, will only have one guitar. So this is really for people who have multiple guitars, considering what it's like to only have one. The first thing I notice is you have to adapt to the guitar. You can't always make the guitar adapt to you. You can somewhat with a good setup and string preference and all that, but really I have to play within the parameters given by this guitar. So it's a slightly smaller neck. I have to really work at my chord shapes, my finger picking, because it's ever so slightly smaller. It's not uncomfortably small, but it's also got a thinner tone, a sweeter tone, but it does have really nice sustain, and the action is low enough to do some nice vibrato. Doesn't have the boom, doesn't have the bottom end, but it does have a sound all of its own. So that sound is going to govern kind of how you play, the dynamics that you're going to work with in your playing. So you have to surrender to the guitar. You don't get to grab another one if this one's not working for you. So that's the first thing. You have to yield to the instrument and maybe tone down some of your preferences and be a bit more malleable as a player. So that's the first thing it does for you. Second of all, the claim has been made that it'll make you a better player, because rather than being able to flip and sort of always work towards your comfort levels with switching guitars for different styles, you really have to learn to be able to play multi-styles on one instrument, particularly styles that may not be natural to that instrument. So this one here is a good strummer, good porch strummer. It's not loud though, so you have to work at the dynamics a bit more, because it doesn't boom like a dreadnought. However, it has its own distinct sound that you can work with. So this is kind of related to the first point, really. But the second point, I think it makes you persevere and practice all on one instrument. You don't get to flip, say if you're tripping over your fingers, or you're not getting the patterns right that you're practicing. You have no choice but to work at it with this particular guitar. And with it being a smaller, quieter guitar, it makes me concentrate more on my tone rather than relying on, another guitar for a particular tone. So I work harder at my playing, and I have to work against my comfort levels a little bit. So that's good. I'll be interested to see what it'd be like to play for 3 months on this guitar, work on certain sounds and techniques, and then what that's going to do for me to when I switch to, let's say, a classical guitar or a dreadnought acoustic guitar. The claim is that having one guitar and being made to persevere with one guitar makes you a better guitarist. So patience is another thing that you need. So you become more intimate with your instrument, you get to know it better. This is all you get to play. So you really have no choice but to sort of get to know all of the intricacies of a given instrument if it's your only one. And I think it's going to be a good experience. I'm looking at it that way. Anyway, I'm just glad I have something to play for 3 months. Being 3 months without a guitar at all, or a ukulele, for me, in my world, would be hell. I always need something to plonk on, to tinker on, to muse on, to practice on, you name it. So having something to work with is good. The reason why I chose this over a ukulele as well is that I play ukuleles all the time. This guitar I've hardly played at all, so it was a nice choice, a novel choice to be able to play something new. And I tend not to like travel guitars, smaller body guitars, or let's say smaller size guitars like junior guitars. I tend to find them poorly made. This one I particularly like. I like the shape of it, this sort of Victorian 18th century aesthetic. It feels pretty comfortable to play. It's a nice solid top instrument. It's pretty nicely made. So this was a good opportunity for me to really get to know it. I already know intimately all my ukuleles because I play them daily. But this one gives me an opportunity to work with an instrument I normally wouldn't pick, which is a smaller body instrument.